Call the order.
Okay,
You have a
seven.
second?
Yeah, second.
What do you got for us, Dan?
So again, not a whole heck of a lot. This time of year, this is when things slow down for a little bit, which is nice to kind of catch a breath. Programming wise, we really don't have a ton going on. We have fencing that is still running, 28 people in the current session. The next session starts on right after the new year. I think it's January 16th, and we already have 30 people registered for that. So numbers are growing, and he also has a wait list too. So his program here is exploding. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. So the fencing instructor who I've worked with for about 20 years now, he is kind of combining programs now. He did it for years in Arlington and Winchester. He's now doing it just in Arlington. He's done it for years in Reading and in Wakefield. He's now moving all the kids from Reading over to Wakefield. So it's a boon for us. I think he's had some conflict with the new recreation director in Reading, and it's just not working out for him. So it's a win for us. It's a loss for them. So we'll probably end up adding a second day of it because we have so much interest. So I could see, I know in Arlington right now he has 100 kids for his next session. I could see us getting up to 50 easily. So we're we're exploding, which is very good. We have a gingerbread house program this coming Saturday that's done with one of our contractors we worked with for years. So this contract in particular, they used to be less creative with Paula and Dee. Paula and Dee are two women from Linfield who approached me years ago about doing some arts and crafts style programs. They've now split off into their own things. So Paula, they're both wonderful, but Paula is like does everything via email, which is great for me. It's not handwritten notes on doing stuff, which Dee, the partner, does, or old partner, does. So Paul is doing this program, and this is for families. We have 12 families currently registered to do gingerbread houses, which is fun. We are doing the Home Alone safety class again. We did that virtually with the Melrose Recreation Director, Fred Oliveri, who actually is a Wakefield resident, and he has done this through the school system for many years. Wakefield schools did not have him come back for whatever reason, so we gladly took him. And we have our next one on January 28th. No registration yet, but still very early for that. Pickleball lessons ended today. As always, they are always filled. Our next ones currently aren't slated to start until after February vacation. My instructor has gone away for a month, so we're trying to see if I can bring in somebody else. I've reached out to a few intermediaries to see if they're interested. If they are, we'll fill in a gap from beginning of January to February vacation. But if not, we'll just add extra play. I mean, if you come down to the Civic Center any given day between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., your head will explode at the amount of people that we have. A couple weeks ago, in a 4-hour time frame, we had 80 people come through. So it's just huge, and there's no stopping this beast. This pickleball thing is just not slowing down. It's only getting bigger. So we expect that those lessons will fill up very quickly once we put them out there. SNL, who does our flag football program, they also do other programming for us. They are going to do our winter vacation program this year. They did a phenomenal job with the programming right after summer programs ended for my staff. So they came in, they were amazing. So we're having them back for the winter vacation program. They will do a full week registration or drop-ins, daily drop-ins. So they're very accommodating, works out really well, and their staff is fabulous. Soccer Shots actually ends this coming weekend as well. We had 38 people in that program. Their next session starts up on January 13th. And in fact, I registered my nephew for that class. He's going to be 2 on Christmas Eve, and that will be his first introduction to sports. So he has his first class signed up. That's my Christmas gift to him. Well, one of my Christmas gifts to him. So excited to get that going. And then rock climbing. I only wish I could take more people. We're only given an allotment of 6 kids for that program because the staffing concerns. That thing filled within about 15 minutes of it being online. And I have a wait list double of what we can take. So more than double what we can take. So it's a great program. And we're just going to try to keep offering as much as we can because people love it. So programming wise, it's all we have at the moment, though it's always changing. I know there's going to be some more adult arts and crafts style programs coming up. We just don't have the particulars yet. We are going to start our summer stuff right after the new year. So that stuff will start coming out by February vacation. We are looking to do some more tot programming or mommy and me style stuff. That's coming up. I'm actually meeting with a contractor either later this week, or I might have to wait until after the new year because I will be away next week, and potentially off after Christmas too. I'm not sure yet. But I'm excited about that possibility. So we're trying to bring in new things and kind of keep it moving. Any questions about programs? No. Okay. And again, I encourage you guys to come down if you're available during the day. Just come see what goes on with pickleball. It is utterly amazing. We actually had a holiday party the other day. They've been asking me to do it. We gave them a date. I let everybody come play for free that day. It's only a $5 drop in. We had 50 something people come through. Everybody brought some sort of a potluck snack or food or whatever it was. They had a great time. So that's kind of the community that we're trying to build here, and it's there's nothing like it. Other towns can try to replicate what we're doing, but I promise you they can't. The people
It's
who are
great
coming,
for the building too to have people coming and going and seeing it.
it really is. And quite honestly, and I'll get into the Albion, we're kind of getting that community kind of spirit over there too, which I'm excited about. Moving on to first, I'll do the Civic Center. As you can imagine, we're packed. We're busy. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single solitary day. From pickleball, then to the Boys and Girls Club, then to WBA, then to adult rentals, or even I have St. Joe's. St. Joe's School has been hounding me for years to get space. We made it happen this year, so we are slammed. I feel badly for groups that want space because I can't provide it, but I can't give what I don't have. So we are just jammed in on days where WBA isn't using space. So Christmas vacation week, I opened up their times for pickleball rentals. I started pickleball rentals. People could rent the entire court for $50 an hour, which is a little bit of a discount because I wanted to get people through the door. I filled up every time slot that I wanted from 3:30 to 7:30, and then on the weekends. So busy, busy, busy. People are excited about the opportunity to be able to play, and we're going to continue to do that stuff when it's available. So it's really working out well. And then project-wise, the lower level bathrooms of the Civic Center are near complete. The time frame's a little bit different than what I was told. Originally I was given oh yeah, we'll be done within a month. That was sometime late September. We are obviously in December near Christmas now, but when it's done, it'll be great, and we've been able to survive it. So at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. The only person truly impacted by it is me because they're in the bathrooms next to my office and I can just hear people yelling in the hallway, but we can manage through that. As far as the ACE, so since we last met, we've had a ton of things that have gone on there. We have the storytelling that's gone on that's been once a month. Those things have gone great. The last one was last week. We're looking to add those for 2024. We have the improv shows that happen, once a month on Thursday nights. The next one is tomorrow. Those have gone fantastic. He already gave me his calendar for the entire year of 2024. So those are going to continue. We have the Chamber of Commerce is going to be using the building for a women in business luncheon next week. Those are things that I think are great to kind of, again, enhance and show off the building. The Arts Collaborative of Wakefield had an artisan sale, on December 1st and 2nd. Went very well. Everybody was happy with that. The Merry Lion, a local business in town on North Ave, she had a show or a night there with other women-owned businesses that were local, and she told me that they had 140 to 150 people come through, and all the people who participated. So it was like Canderella's bakery was one. What's the building across from the Civic Center right now? This is what happens to me at night. I kind of start forgetting things.
Sweet Bay.
Sweet Bay, thank you, Aaron. That they had a table there. The Healthy Nut had had one there. So a bunch of businesses, and it couldn't have gone better. They got a liquor license for that night. They had a little champagne cart. It was well decorated. I mean, it was a fantastic event. They did all the proper channels to get all those things accomplished. There was one concern that came in from a neighbor who abuts the property or is across the street from the property, who was concerned about the alcohol and making sure that we did the right things. I will tell you guys, if there's ever alcohol involved in anything, I truly don't want my name attached to it. So we make sure that we, dot our I's and cross our T's. I want to be able to go to sleep at night and say that I know that this event had it there. They had to get their license through the town. It had to get approved by the town. The police chief signed off on it. Everybody did what they had to do, and then I can sleep well. So we do that all the time for these things. So we were able to put that person at ease, I think. We had the high school window painting. You've probably gone downtown and seen that in some of the local businesses. We hosted them for that. So they were based out of the Albion Cultural Exchange. They painted the windows there, which look great. They painted the windows at the Civic Center, if you haven't seen them, that look fabulous. And then again, the local businesses. So that was a great group. Next week, we have the high school a cappella group is coming in on 12/21, sorry, from 3:30 to 5:30. They're going to do their little show there for a little bit. And then on 1/5 to 1/7, Kid Casso is going to host an art show for their students. That's something that they've always wanted to do. When I was planning the show with the Merry Lion, because Kid Casso was involved in that as well, I said to them, if you ever want to do an art show here, please let me know. We want to be good neighbors. We want to host an event for you if you're interested. And boom, it came together real quick. So that was fun. And we're excited about that coming up. So these are the kind of things that we're rolling in. I'm trying to, one of the classes that I'm hoping to bring into town is a taught music program. We would base that out of that building. I'm looking for anything culture and arts related to be hosted out of that building. So we're growing it. We're getting more people through the doors. People are starting to find out that the building exists because not enough people know about it. So that's where we are right now with it. We are working on getting an elevator or a lift in there. We're trying to see if we get some grants, or do we need to go through capital improvement, or do we need to go through anything, town meeting, whatever it might be. We want to get that so we can get tenants upstairs so we can start bringing in revenues. Little classes are great. We don't have revenues. And I also always said to myself that I was going to take a year to see how this building's used. We're coming up on that. I mean, it's really May, but I'm seeing how the building has been used, how I think it can be used. And starting July, that's when we're going to start charging for use. How that works right now, I don't know, but we'll set that plan. Of course, when I have that plan, that'll go before all of you. Okay. That's not something that I'm going to do on my own. It's going to be, what do you think about this price structure? What do you think about this? And then we need to go to, or after I get approval from this board, then I need to go to town council for the final approval. So we're heading in the right direction. And again, for me, getting interested in that building and using it for different purposes is a good thing. But we're growing. So any questions about facilities?
Yeah, Dan, I just had a question. You mentioned St. Joe's was using some of the Civic Center space.
Yep.
What were they using it for? Gym or gym
For
class?
basketball, for their travel basketball program.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. They have one for, they call it their JV and varsity. So I want to say it's probably 4th and 5th grade and then 6th or 8th grade. And I'm just guessing because I don't ask those many questions. But they said they want to use it for travel basketball. I'm like, sure, it's available. So they're using it for travel basketball. And Dr. Sullivan's very happy because he's been chasing me down for about 6 years now. So we're finally been able to make him happy. Any other questions about facilities?
Yeah, Dan, I recently heard there's about $2 million left in the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
Is there any projects that you throw in there for them to approve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Several.
Is the elevator in there too? Maybe.
No, the elevator is not one of them that I threw in there. Actually, the biggest one that I threw in for ARPA, and I don't know where it lays right now, is lights at Vets Field that we can also do for the pickleball courts, because the demand is there. Mm-hmm. If Rich was in this meeting, Rich is one of the people who's asked me about lights at the pickleball courts. And that could turn into a revenue generator for that space. So I put in for that. It was $250,000. I don't know where that sits. The elevator, I don't have an exact cost yet. though I know that was done at one point by the group who ran the building before us. And I believe the town has that info. I believe we're also using some of that money to potentially add, well, we have to, handicap access.
Yeah.
As you know, with that building, it's not handicap accessible at the moment. But I know the plan to do it, and the plan's going to be on the back side of the building. I know that the people who are rehabbing the old bank have given permissions for us to use that as an access point. So, but yeah, there's a lot there, and quite honestly, I could probably spend all $2 million of that money just at the Ace building.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a good question, Charlie. Let me reach out to Steve and see, hey, is this all allocated yet? Are we still sitting on things? Can we push a few projects through? Because once I get the elevator there, then we can start renovating the second floor offices.
Right.
Then we can start renting them out.
Yeah.
And because right now I'm paying all the gas and the light bills. It was the gas bill was cheap up until a couple weeks ago. So now it's not so cheap. I'd like to not send money out and like to have a little bit coming in. But yeah, I'm going to put my note to contact Steve about that. In fact, I know I have a meeting coming up with him soon anyways. Next, Steve, ARPA, Ace. Elevator. Like it. Okay. On my list of things to do. Anything else about buildings? All right. So finally, fields. It's December. Fields are closed. We close all fields in town technically after the day after Thanksgiving. Dennis Fazio's kind of thing is if it's 40 degrees or less, we don't want anybody touching in the field, especially the turf, because they get damaged. That doesn't mean that people aren't going around on a weekend knocking a ball around. That doesn't mean the Boys and Girls Club might not be out there playing flag football. We don't want the soccer groups, youth football, youth lacrosse out there with cleats and chewing things up. So we're not really permitting any of that stuff out, but we know that people are going to go out in the fields anyways. Dennis, myself, and Brendan Kent are planning a meeting sometime soon to go over our plans for spring and beyond for field scheduling. So as we all know, we're losing Beasley Field. How are we going to manage that? Where are we going to put the groups that need that field? I feel like it's actually going to be a lot easier than I had anticipated. Kind of one of my thoughts of it is youth baseball doesn't really hop on the ball fields until afternoon time, say 3:00. Well, instead of at Beasley, youth soccer used to have on the weekends their intramural tot program would be on Beasley the entire time. We can kick them over to Sullivan. We can kick them over to Moulton. We can kick them over somewhere else on Saturday, Sunday mornings. Big, vast field. They don't need lines. All they need is space. So as long as baseball still doesn't need the morning times, which they haven't in my tenure here, we'll be okay. If all of a sudden they sat there and said that they needed to, we'd be up the creek a little bit, but I think we can make that work too. Maybe we sit there and say, hey, this field during this time, I have to use for soccer, and you guys have to use this time. There's 3 90-foot diamonds in town. We have Ewell, which is the only 50-70 field in town. I think between those 3 fields, we can make a tot soccer program work somewhere. We have space. And if we really, really, really had to, we discuss a town common. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But that's a absolute last resort. So
no, it's not, Dan. It's a perfect spot.
Well, I think it is too. But by the way, I played soccer there when I was a kid. When Reading,
I played Little League when I was a kid.
It wasn't Reading United Soccer. It wasn't Wakefield United Soccer. It was Quantapowhat Youth Soccer, and that was my first games were over at that field. And I lived in Reading, so I think there's ways to make it work. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we have a meeting soon to go over that. Tennis courts and the pickleball courts are still open technically. We will not close them until first snow, but we're not allowing reservations at this time. So if anybody wants to play tennis or pickleball, it's first come, first serve. Because if I still had it online, by the time first snow comes or we decide we're closing the parks or the courts, now I need to contact somebody who needs to take something offline. It's just way easier to make it first come, first serve this time of year. So that people have said to me, well, I'd like to reserve it. I know. We're on borrowed time right now. It's December 13th. Like, we're lucky that we're able to even use them. So it's just first come, first serve. And that's really it with Fields. Any questions about field stuff?
Dan, does that mean, I'm sorry if you can't hear me, by the way.
That's right. Yeah.
Busy here, but does that mean that if people want to rent like the pickleball nets, they can't do that right now?
If people want to rent the pickleball nets, they can contact me.
Okay.
And
It's fine.
I can
It
always make
is
accommodations.
December 13th, and I was just curious.
Right.
Okay.
But honestly, most people know the code who are down there, because I don't change it. You know, if I could tell you the process it took to actually to get the lock off to change the code, it's crazy. So we don't even change it. Maybe a little next summer when it's nicer out. Yeah.
I know. I've rented it, I think twice or three times now, and I was like, oh, this code doesn't change. And I was like, what are you gonna do? Like,
right.
how often
right.
would you change it? Every week?
I would love to have a digital one or something that's more manual. Like, I can change the lock outside my building anytime. I can change the lock at Albion anytime. The ones on the bathhouses I can change anytime because they're just little boxes with the key, and it's really easy to do. This one, the lock's actually inside the box, ratcheted down, so you have to have the tools to do it. I don't carry those with me. Yeah, it's a lot, but we will change it at some point just because I have to. And actually, the nets are once we have first snow, I'm going to go down and grab the nets, bring them to my office, because we need to replace the netting anyways. The nets need to be a little bit, the tops get, there's a center pole that goes through, Julie, you'd know this. It starts to poke through, so we need to reinforce that a little bit. So, and I have a wonderful volunteer who helps me with that stuff, who already has an idea to fix it. So I'm going to let him try. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and replace them because they're short money. Any other questions about fields, buildings, programs, anything? Nothing. Okay, this is kind of what I expected. So, yeah, you kind of get to know. Again, Reading has 2-hour meetings. Arlington has 2.5 to 3-hour meetings. I don't know what they're talking about. You can only imagine. Actually, I know Reading's talking about pickleball because that's like it's everything over there. It's all consuming. But yeah, so I will be out of the office next week. I'm actually taking my oldest to Disney for a few days. She had asked a while ago if she could go before Christmas, and we said sure. And then my youngest decided that she didn't want to go, so one of us needed to stay home. So we allowed our oldest to pick who she wanted to take, and she chose me. So that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I won out in this deal. So we're going Tuesday to Friday. So I'll be out of the office, but Karen's there if you need anything. And then after the New Year, after Christmas, we have the Sports Zone not Sports Zone, SNL comes in for 4 days. They'll do a bang up job. We have pickleball rentals going on, so the building will still be busy, heavily used, and I may or may not be in, but if I'm not in, I'm 4 miles from the office if anybody needs me, so I'm always accessible. So if you guys don't need anything else, we can certainly call this meeting to adjournment. And I hope everybody, if you celebrate whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, Christmas, Festivus, Kwanzaa, whatever it might be, hope it's great. And, obviously a great New Year too.
You as well, Dan.
Thank you.
You too, Dan.
You too,
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone.
Absolutely.
Jed, you want to call it?
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. So in favor?
Aye.
All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
See you in 2024, Dan.
2024. We made it.
Yeah, happy New Year.